Good morning, Year 6. I hope you all had a lovely weekend. Starting off the first of today's videos, I'm showing you the answers to Friday's tasks. Please pause the video and mark your work. Remember, if you have a problem with one of the questions or you are stuck, please either re-watch last week's videos or post in your class blog on Purple Mash and an adult will be able to help you. Right, here is your Fluent in 5 for today. Please set yourself as a timer for 5 minutes, pause the video and then come back for the answers. Okay, so the answers for Fluent in 5 today are these. I think we should have been okay on most of the questions. May have just been question E, 80% of £3,000 that some of us might have got a little bit stuck on. So refreshing our memory of our learning from last week. First thing you would have wanted to have done is worked out what 10% of £3,000 is, and I would have done that by doing 3,000 divided by 10, give me £300, and then multiplying 300 by 8 to give us 80%. Okay, so I know that 3 times 8 is 24, so therefore 300 multiplied by 8 is 2,400. This week we're going to continue with our inspired journey and our focus is angles, which honestly is not going to be the easiest from working from home, but we're all going to try our best as it's important once we're back at school we're all at the same point. I'm going to start off just by doing a quick recap on angles. So it's important to remember that an angle is where two lines meet at a vertex. Okay, so I've got an angle here, I've got two lines and they're meeting at a vertex, like the corner part. Okay, and angles is, we measure them as the amount of turn. There are a few ways that you can name angles, so I'm going to recap those first. Okay, so my first angle that I've got here, my lines have been labelled AB for this line here, or it could be BA, okay, because they're the letters where it starts and ends. And this line here, my horizontal line, BC or CB. Okay, so if I was to name this angle here, okay, I'm looking for my vertex where they meet, my angle could be angle ABC or angle CBA. Okay, and the way that I would write that would be with my angle symbol sign. So angle ABC or angle CBA. Okay, and it's important not to get confused with our angle sign. It looks very similar to a less than sign, but it is not a less than sign. Okay, a less than sign looks more like this. Okay, whereas my angle sign, kind of the bottom bit, is horizontal. Okay, so it's flat along the bottom. Okay, so we've got angle ABC or CBA here. If you look at my second angle, okay, sometimes the angles would already have been named. So although my lines, I've got ABC, similar to this one here, my angle has been named as angle Y. Okay, so I would just write that as angle Y. Right, I'm now going to recap for us how to measure angles. And to measure angles, you need a piece of equipment called a protractor, which you may or may not have at home. If you have a protractor at home, fantastic, go grab it, you will need it for this week. However, if you do not have a protractor at home, please do not worry. Okay, it's important that we still cover this and I'll show you how to do it so that when we're back in school, we can practice. However, for any tasks this week that require the use of a protractor, either in the videos I will overlay a protractor for you to have a look at so you can still read and measure the angles, or on the task sheet I have put a protractor onto the questions so you can still complete them. So please do not worry. Protractors can look a little bit different. I've got two different types at home. First protractor that I have is this one. that looks a bit like a semicircle, and it measures angles up to 180 degrees. Hopefully you can see that. Hopefully you can see also on the outside I have two scales. I have an inner scale that goes from 0 round to 180 degrees, and then I have an outer scale on the outside that goes this way round from 0 to 180 degrees. Okay, that is useful because sometimes the angles that we're measuring aren't always on the same side. Okay, the other thing to notice is that along the bottom, not right at the bottom of the protractor, okay, a bit like a ruler where there's the bit at the end, we've got a baseline, okay, and I call this my baseline, this black line here. And that's important because I use that bit to line up on the edge of my angle. Then in the centre, I have like a centre point, which is where I measure up an overlay on my vertex of my angle. Okay, and on this one, it almost looks a bit like a target point. Okay, on other protractors, it might look like an upside down T, or there might just be a big dot. Okay, so that's the first protractor that I have. I also have access to a full size protractor. Okay, and this protractor can measure full turn angles, so from 0 to 360 degrees. This protractor has like a turny bit, okay, so I can turn it to help me measure the angle. Other protractors may not have this bit. If it doesn't, don't worry, okay. Once again, it's got an inner and an outer scale. My inner scale, okay, starts from 0 here and goes round to 360 degrees. And then my outer scale still starts at 0 here, but goes this way round to 360 degrees here. Okay. Once again, across the middle, I've got my baseline, which is where I'll line up to measure the angle. And then I've also got the center point, looks very similar to my other one, where it's kind of like a target point, which I would use to measure up against the vertex. Okay, so your protractor, if you have one at home, may look a little bit different, but remember, if you don't have one, please do not worry. What I'm going to do now is show you how I would measure this angle here. Okay, so I've got the angle TPZ or ZPT. Okay, and I'm going to start off by measuring it using my half circle protractor. Okay, like I said, the center point I need to align with my vertex. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. So I've lined it up with my vertex, okay, but this isn't useful for me at the moment because I haven't aligned my baseline. My baseline needs to go along the edge of one of the lines, okay? It doesn't matter which one. I could line it up so my center point is on my vertex and my baseline is here, okay? Or I could turn it this way and put my center point and my baseline along this line, okay? I could also turn my piece of paper, okay? Sometimes it's easier if the angle, when we're looking at it, looks like the line is horizontal to us, okay? Because if I put my piece of paper flat like this, okay, it's not horizontal, it's like on a diagonal, but I can turn it like this if I want. But I'm gonna show you how I'd measure it if I didn't turn the piece of paper. But any questions for this week or any tasks, you can move the paper to make it easier. It's up to you. So I'm just going to align my protractor again. And then I'm looking for where the line comes out of the protractor. So if I have a look here, goes up. I'm starting at 0, okay, so on here I need to use my inner scale. So it would be 70 degrees, okay? It wouldn't be 110 degrees, okay? And if I look at that angle, I know that this angle is not going to be 110 degrees because it's an acute angle, it's less than 90 degrees, okay? So it's important that when you're measuring angles, you make sure you start at 0, okay? Because if it was 110 degrees, the 0 would be starting over here, so that's not right. If I then just very quickly show you using my full size protractor, which you may have at home. Okay, so once again, I'm going to line up on the center and on the baseline. There we go. Okay, on here I can use this just to help point me to the right number, okay, because this is now lined up with this line here. Okay, so once again, it's 70 degrees. Now that we have completed the recap, please watch the next video for today where I will introduce our new learning.